Good morning, everyone. This is BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. We just love it when Coach is in the house because we're going to be talking about your money. Okay. So now I want to give a shout out to my partner, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. And I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So welcome. Sit back, relax. Don't get too comfortable because you're going to need a pen to take these great nuggets from Coach Caren. Coach, what's up today?
Oh, man, I tell you, last week we were talking a little bit about, actually, we started the month off with what are you selling, so that you need to know what you're selling. And then last week we were brief because the ladies had conference, so it was a snippet. And we talked a little bit about profits in your business. And if you didn't look at that short but really sweet video, you learned a thing or two in profit. So you might want to go back for the replay viewers and have a listen to that, so you can understand where your profit comes from, what happens. We know when we sell, we gain profit.
I'm pulling up a page on my iPad so I can take notes. I'm sorry. I don't want people to think that I'm not paying attention. I want you to know what's going on over here.
Right.
I have this ready. But like many of us. Okay, go ahead, Coach, because
You got your pen.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in position now.
Yeah. So that when we make a sale, we understand truly what's profits, what's owner's draw, what we're going to save and all that sort of stuff. We got one more week. So when the 21st, right? So we will have on the 28th to talk about paying ourselves. Okay. Just making sure we're keeping track here. So we really want to know if your business is profitable. And sometimes some businesses, you can lay everything out and know that you're going to be profitable in a certain time. But some businesses you really need to get in there and do the work to see the profitability. So when you got a business, and if your business is making, let's go to the grindstone, $2 profit, you're profitable. You got to really realize that and not worry about the 6-figure, 7-figure people. They have worked themselves into that arena. That's one. 2, some people make 6 figures, but they still don't make a profit in their business.
How is that possible?
Because if you sit down and look at it, I'll tell you why. Years, and I was in my early 20s, and I had a family member who was in business. And my mom keeps saying to her, you want to talk to Caren? And she keeps saying, what would I talk to that little girl about? She's a bigger lady. My mom keeps saying, don't worry about her age. Talk to Caren. She'll tell you. And we sat down. She was making good money, but she wasn't profitable. How is this possible? She was using her business entail flights. So she had to pay for airfare. She had to pay customs with the goods and service that she traveled up and down doing. It's transportation to get to the airport and get off the airport when she get to her destination. She had to pay for a place to stay, even if she got it at a discount. And then the goods that she was involved in, when we pace it out and look at timeline and look at all the things I listed there, and the timeline in terms of she physically doing, but also the timeline where the goods come and hit the market and be sold. When we worked it out, she wasn't profitable. She wasn't profitable. And this was hard for her to hear because she was going off of a model which somebody else taught her. And maybe that person wasn't profitable initially, but they figured out how to be. Anyway, I don't know them, so I didn't get to talk with them. But what I knew, once we sat down, I didn't want to burst her bubble, but she was deflated because this is a woman who invested a lot of money. And when we sat down, she wasn't profitable. And it wasn't because she couldn't be, but she wasn't. So I said to her, even though you feel this terrible right now, take it, soak it in, we're not going to do this today, but if you come back in 2 days, I will show you how to be profitable. And
Wow.
so
Well,
we had to cut down on how many times she fly per year. That was the first thing we cut down on, because the airfare was taking a lot of the money.
okay.
Transportation and lodging, wherever she stayed, the hotel, even if she just Airbnb now, but people did that all the time. They didn't call it Airbnb.
They call it bed and breakfast.
Bed and breakfast.
We got Carlos in the house. We got
Hi,
Cecilia
Carlos.
in the house. How you doing, guys? Yeah, Carlos runs a very successful business.
Yes.
I think what I heard, the nugget I heard in here for those of us who run, who are solopreneurs or who are just getting started or thinking about getting started, is you got to write it down.
Got to write it down. You got to write it down. That's the only way you know. So once we cut that
down and
yes, and get it laid out. And she didn't like that. She didn't like that she had to be accountable for things. And she was really fighting.
Accountability.
She didn't like it. She told me, I just want to get it and sell it. And what's the big hoo-ha? But when I started showing her timeline, and I think by the time she actually made money that stayed in her hand and in her account, that's when she started mellowing out and said, that's why I never had any money. This is what she would say to me. That's why I never had any money.
Because she couldn't figure out where the sieve was, how it was falling through the cracks.
Yes.
Because you figure, well, flights are business expenses. And so you just rationalize it and do it without figuring out how much of the budget is that taking up.
Exactly.
And so, like me, when I go into the fabric store, God help me, when I go into the fabric store, it's like I lose control.
I know what you mean. You don't have to tell me. I know what you mean. But for those who are listening in, this is part of our addiction. So to help with that addiction for you, Terry, and this is what I had to do for myself. If I go into the fabric store to just look, I said, okay, so Caren, you got a $50 budget. And if it passed that, that's it. So me and the fabric people, most of them know me. So it's like I'm putting stacks and stacks. And I said, ladies, you know how it's rolling. And they're like, yeah, we're watching. The pile is too high. And we would joke about it. And then if I was going in when it was business time, I'm like, okay, so there's a $200 budget. And I'm always having this game in my head where I can spend $150 or $175 so I could beat my budget by spending less. So that's how I was able to pull it back, even if I want to, right? And also allow myself enough time in the fabric store so that I can see myself maybe in the top that I want to make and the pants. I kind of do the envisioning, so it pulls me back. That's one. The second part is, do I have the time to make the things I'm buying to make? And I start calculating all that stuff, and that's already helped me not spend as much anymore in the fabric store, because I was like, if I'm buying this top, remember a time I bought fabric for 3 tops, and I said to the girl, you know what, I'm going to go buy a half a yard. I gain weight now, but when I was slim, a half a yard would give me a top, unless it's something with a lot of sleeves and stuff, then I need a meter. Instead of ending up with a lot of scraps. So you know what, I'm going to buy a yard, 3/4 of a yard, and a half a yard. So I'm not allowed to buy a bunch of it and then go home and try to figure out what I'm going to make. And then I got extra fabric, or I know that I have material to make 2 pants. So there's no way I'm buying pants material, because I'm not going to make 3 pants. I know the timeline is going to allow me 2 pants. So that helps me stay in my budget lane and not overspend. Even if I get excited, even if I see a fabric that is expensive out of my budget and I love it to pieces, I go, I interact with it, I feel it, I touch it, I enjoy it, and I leave it alone.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I commend you for your discipline.
Because it's not in my budget. I know what I was doing, where I wanted to go. When I first went on a cruise and my friend told me what we're going to need, I went in myself and researched it. And I said, I'm going to give myself $200 and I'm going to dress me for 7 days with $200. And that included some flip-flops and shoes. And she said, Caren, what's your budget for clothes? And I told her, she goes, you're crazy. I said, first of all, I make my own clothes. So, other than a bathing suit and the flip-flops and the sandals that I want, I really could make it.
Make
And
it happen. Yes.
and I just make it happen because I stick to my budget. And people, that's why I say you got to look after yourself first, because when you understand you first, then it really transpired over into your business. And your business either going to be profitable or not. And it didn't matter how much money you're making. When you see a business that looking big blow up, and then you hear that they're no longer, they weren't paying attention to their profitability. They weren't paying attention to the savings for the business. They weren't paying attention to a lot of things. And if they didn't have a bookkeeper, they should have had one, because having an accountant is different from having a bookkeeper. An accountant is the big picture, but a bookkeeper keeps the book and watch what's going on. And if she's really good, she tells you where you're doing crap. At least she's supposed to, or he supposed to tell you. And they can't make you, but they're supposed to give you the warning or question you. And this is not because they're into your business, because they are, but they're supposed to question you. If I'm somebody's bookkeeper, I'm going to say to them, let's say you sold tops. Like, how come you buy all that stuff in fabric? When is it going to be sold? Like, did you got a plan? Like, I'm going to ask them. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't onboard anybody without us understanding that we have to have discussions. I can't tell you what not to do, but if I'm going to help you to be profitable, because I run mine a little differently. If I want to help you to be profitable, we're going to have to talk about your money and how you spend it and what's happening with it. That's important, because I want you to be able to keep paying for my services, pay for yourself. You're going to not need me anymore. And people have to think about it that way. It's not being selfish. You have a business. You want to help your people. If you're a vendor, good vendors, let me pause here, but I got to talk about this. Good vendors understand that when you have the business woman or man to do great, they're going to be long time customers for you. When I used to go to Brazil and do wholesale trading back and forth to Guyana, I had like 3 wonderful vendors. The shoe girl, and somebody I used to buy coffee from, and different things. They were like my top 3, because they'll say to me at times, Caren, this is not trending well. Although we can give you for a good price, would you be able to sell it off to come back? Because this was like a 2 weeks turnover. And those guys were like my eyes and ears. They kept track of what was happening. And even if what I want, they sold, they would say to me, I know somebody X, Y, and Z address. This is trending. This is better. You might want to go purchase there. And they wouldn't just selfishly sell me their goods.
Yes.
Made us stay in business for years. That's important. A vendor needs to know how to tell the customer what's not trending, what's not working, what's not happening. And it sounds like you're giving away a business, but if you have a good relationship with the other business owners, it's kind of give and take. When somebody comes to them, they're going to send them to you also, right?
Ah, okay.
And business will grow from there. But you got to be profitable, because when you are starting a business, your head has everything. I wrote this out and a friend got back to me a couple of weeks ago. She says, Caren, I fought you on this forever, but I finally understand why you told me my business needs several departments, and I'm doing it. I was like, yeah. This is a little, it's not taken away, but I must tell you, when you know the departments of your company, you understand that your company is going to grow, and you work accordingly. Now, I know some people only want to be one-man show, and they don't ever want to hire anybody, and they want to do it all themselves. And I'm not knocking you for it, but I'm telling you, the day you divide your solo manship in departments, you're going to also see if you're profitable or not, because you're going to see how many wheels you've been spinning, how much time you spend doing things that, really, should you be doing it or not? Because now you're seeing what that department does, and you're understanding you do all of this, but you're not really profitable. Or maybe you are, or you're not as profitable as you'd like to be. You know what I mean? You're not as profitable as you'd like to be. Take a caterer, and I used to be a caterer. I could do everything myself, hands down. But I recognize that I needed sellers, so I got them on board, and I needed helpers to do, we call it the sous chef over here. I needed those people. So rather than doing it, even though I could, I just hire friends and family or friends of friends, and they come in, they know they're coming in to work for a day or two, and their sole job is to wash, cut up, package off, get everything ready for me so that when the day comes, I have everything ready. So they need to come a day or two, depending on the size of the catering occasion, and they help me do all of that. And so that helps me with my energy. I'm not tired. I'm not frustrated. I'm not irritated because I've gotten all this help. So they don't work for me full time, but they come on board when I need them to. And if you're a solopreneur, this is something you can do, and you still will be profitable in energy, in behavior, and in money.
That's real. That's real. Wow. I think the nugget that I'm taking away today is write it down and figure out what the departments are in your business.
You need to. I don't know if you could see it. Probably not. I draw this little circle. Maybe I'll just do a nice one and send it to you. So next time we could put it in a group. But just when you're thinking of a business and it's just me, you're everything. You know, you do the emails, you do the intake calls, the out calls, you do the recruiting, you do sales, you do marketing. You got to pay yourself a salary. You look after insurance. If you don't have employees, then you're cool. If you do, you look after employees, training of employees. You do payroll. You do bookkeeping, usually not very well. And you do all these things. And if you were to put a dollar amount on the product you're selling to be able to pay those departments, I'm just gonna smile on that one.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You see right away. So when people say to me, you know, I can charge, this one girl was talking about it, I'm gonna coach people for $97. I'm like, yeah, you can't give them anything when you're done. Like, you spend an hour on the phone with somebody for $97, and then you can't prepare a workbook. You can't, or if you do, it's gonna be mediocre because time that you haven't spent with them, really getting them to this next place, because eventually they're going to realize that you're just two-stepping them. You're not getting them out of their rut. You're not getting them to the place that they're paying you to get to. Most people, I always be honest with my clients or potential clients, most people can do everything that I'm asking them to do to get them to the next place. They just wouldn't do it. And people say, well, because their why is not big enough. No, they know their why. People could be losing their house and car and still they wouldn't do something and they can pray to God and sometimes they still wouldn't do it. But when another human being is showing them a way that they never thought of, another path to take, if they're ready and open, they will do it. And they will get there because it's not a big step. I never coach anybody and give them something huge because they couldn't handle it. I have to break it down into tiny steps that seems insignificant in the beginning. But when you add upon it, it becomes this great big thing that, you know, you get to own and tell people that you did because you want to tell people you did it. And first you want to tell yourself that you did it because you know how to do it. You know, when I used to teach people to sew, it was freehand. And when they come to class for the first time, everybody's excited to sew a dress. Well, I'm not teaching them to sew a dress, but they came in thinking they're going to sew a dress. And
Really?
Yes, there's people who say to me, so we're not going to sew a dress. The girl said in the first class, I thought I said to her.
Do you know how to thread the machine?
Thank you. But that's too boring. So they don't want to do it, right? And I said to her, first you have to understand body shape. You got to understand how to thread the machine, how thread works with certain fabrics. You got to know how to pedal. Those days were the peddling. You know those old pedal machine? That's what we had in the classroom.
Yeah.
The lady that owned the school will not let you go on automatic until you learn how to pedal because she said it helps you with your brain and hand coordination. That was her style. You know, I taught there. And you got to learn all those things. And then we get up into cutting and then put in the first fabric on the machine. And the same with business. When you start a business, you're excited. You have a great idea. And if you make whatever you're going to make, you're going to realize at some point you need to peel it back and understand how you get there. And you need to write it down, all the steps that took you there, so that you know what it costs to be there, so that you can sell it to somebody. If you don't, you're not going to be profitable. You're just not going to be profitable. And your profits is going to allow you to have your business account with money inside, cash flow, pay yourself. It is, I shouldn't be anymore, but it still hurts me when I hear somebody says, I've been doing this business for 2 years and I haven't paid myself yet. I'm like, what? Why? What's happening? The business is either not making money or you don't understand how to run it to make you money.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to pay yourself owner's draw. Even if you couldn't do salary, you could do owner's draw. And once you formulate your business good enough, you should be able to do owner's draw and some money's otherwise, labor costs or something. You know, when you're starting out, most of my clients, I have them take labor costs and owner's draw.
Mm-hmm.
And this client said to me last year, she says, but Caren, why would I take all that money out of my business? I don't have enough in the business. I said, then you're not doing what I'm telling you to do, because you're supposed to make enough from the time we've been coaching so that you can have this. Because when you're punishing in your business, this is the part you really have to understand. When you're punishing in your business, it's hard for your brain to be creative enough to keep growing the company. So you don't grow because you're stagnant in, I can't pay my food bill. I can't pay my rent. I need to go out and get a job. This is not working for me. And you spin yourself around and the business don't get off the ground. But if you sit down and understand the things I'm talking about, and I'm sure other people you heard it from before too, you'll start seeing that you could. I don't care how small it is, no matter how tiny it is. If I say to you, owner's draw could only be $5 from each sale, don't be discouraged that it's $5. It's $5. But if you sell to 100 people, it's $500. So your job is to understand where your sales and marketing need to come together to make that money. Then the labor, because most people are doing product. And then the service, we still look at labor costs. And then the labor, the time you're putting in is your labor. And if you're paying yourself $2 labor costs, you know, per whatever, and you do about, I don't know, let's say 5 of them, so you're making $10 an hour, then you got $10 an hour labor cost. But my goal always going in asking my client, how much money would you like to make per hour? And then we work everything towards their hourly salary plus owner's draw. And the combination together will start you on understanding how you make money in your company. That's above and beyond what you're putting back in your company, petty cash, all that stuff still happens. But people are so nervous because they hear, when I make my money in my business, I should put everything back in. Please do not listen to that unless you have a full-time job and you're doing it in such a way that you want to scale it in 90 to 180 days so that you're putting back in the money for this specific purpose.
I had to mute myself because, of course, the
our visitor.
Yeah. Wow. I hadn't even thought about that. Owner's draw. I do think about, getting paid, making sure that I don't feel like I am on business punishment.
I like that word. Yes, I like that word, Terry. Business punishment. I like that word.
Because I enjoy running my business. I don't want to feel like it's a burden. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I hadn't thought about taking owner's draw, and I'm not sure I know what that is. Can you tell us real quick?
Owner's draw, if it's a corporation, you get every quarter, you get money from it. If it's personal, if it's just you on your own, whatever the business makes. So let's say the business makes, I don't know, $10,000. Whatever percent you deem is owner's draw, you'll take from that.
Okay.
That's yours, right? So that can be even categorized depending on the type of business as an expense.
Okay.
Sometimes people think it's the capital that you're taking out. No, it's not a capital. Capital, owner's draw, they all go under, not to get technical, but under the liability column with owner's equity at the bottom. They all go under there. And over here is your assets. And so it's just right and left. That's how we look at it in accounting. And so that goes over there.
Okay.
Yes. I probably should draw it out. I'm going to have to draw it out and scale it out so that we can share screen. I'll send it to Terry probably next week so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I think if I did it visually, you'll understand.
Okay.
in, where it happened, where it lines up. It will make more sense. I feel like when I'm saying it, because I know it, like I can see it.
And you're using accounting terms.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
can definitely translate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
All right, well, Coach, we are there. So do
Yes.
you want to summarize for us today what we're learning?
Yes. So today we caught up back on profits, how profits really work in your business, understanding how you make a profit in your business so that you can do the things you want to do in your business, so you can grow the business. And guys, don't feel bad. Everybody talks about organically getting clients, but if you can do that at a moment, and you can find a way, be your own angel investor, use that money to run ads, to understand how it works first, of course, and then run ads. Because if you know nobody who's ready to buy from you, you got to find strangers to buy from you. You got to nurture them, of course, but they will buy from you. And that's what you got to think about. When I came to Candace, I don't know anybody. So I had to run ads. I had to do whatever I needed to do to get people to buy from me, give away free stuff and what have you. And you need to really think about how you do that, because without selling, there's no profits. I don't care. You make the world best candle. Nobody's buying from you because nobody know about it. So you got to, sell it. When you hear somebody sell a candle for $95 and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe you buy from that. She didn't call up her sister and her sister friend. She find the people who will buy a $95 candle and not whine, because they understand the aroma, the smell, the whatever it's doing for them for care. That's why they're buying the candle. It's way more than the price. And she knew the kind of candle she made to be profitable. She needed to sell it for $95. My son bought me a candle. I think he said it was $125. And I'm telling you, Terry, the candle is 2 years I had the candle and it's still burning. I wouldn't have think the candle could burn that long.
And I'm sure that the fragrance is intense.
Beautiful. It's just beautiful. I'm lighting it. It's at the bottom now, and it's still got its nice one. He know I love bubble bath, so that's something that he gave me, and it's really nice. I went to check it out after. He never told me. I'm like, oh. But it was really a nice gift, and it lasted me 2 years. So you got to think about those things. Don't get crazy and think that you can't charge to be profitable. That's what I want to say. Make sure that you charge to be profitable. If not,
I think it's a common mistake.
Yes.
That we undercharge, because we want everybody to, we want
everybody's not going to buy from you. Everybody's not going to buy from you. The people.
Everybody is not our customer.
No, you got to niche down. To be profitable, you got to charge the price, bring the value so that the people can buy it. And maybe you wouldn't be profitable, see big profits right away, but you'll eventually see them. Okay? You'll eventually see them. Profit, they got his book called Profits First, and he talks about taking 1% of all your profits and pushing it, really saying towards owner's draw. And I do believe it. Like the top, once you could either take it before you do taxes or you can do it right after you do taxes. It depends on your business model. Remember, mine is not going to be yours. Yours is not mine. You have to figure out how this is going to happen. And this really helps you when you know your mission and your vision for your business. When you understand what your mission is and what your vision is for your business, you get the extra. It's way more than just the words you hear. It's really getting you to extract all those things out so that you know the leg your business is standing on. And don't be afraid if you're in this business and it's not profitable. Shut the doors and start over.
Sounds like a plan. All right, guys, you heard it from Coach Caren. We want you to run a profitable business that's fun to run. And if it's not going well, don't be afraid to start over. With that, we want to thank Coach for her words of wisdom and to keep us going, because it seems like, things are getting interesting. So guys, don't be discouraged.
Yes.
Know that people always are going to need things.
They
whether
will.
we're indoors, outdoors, or in outer space.
Yeah. Getting out of space is going to be very expensive initially, guys.
Exactly. So with that, we want to remind you that tomorrow we'll be here with Happy Healthy Habits with Robin Shimizu and friends. And Friday, we'll be talking tech with the Tech Weekly Divas.
Mhm.
With that, Coach, we want to thank you so much for all you do, for taking time out of your busy day to talk to us and give us information that will help us run a profitable business that's fun to run. Remember to coach. Cecilia says, have a blessed day. Have a
Thank
blessed
you,
day,
Cecilia.
Cecilia.
Yes.
And remember that if you're looking for assistance in how to run a profitable business, you want to look for Coach Caren Fern. That's
Mhm.
Caren with a C everywhere. And we're talking about her website, Profits in Daily.
Mhm.
With that, we want to say, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Right on.
Bye-bye.